Broadway's biggest stars and shows right here on The Broadway Show. I'm Tamsen Fadal. Let's get going. Two-time Tony Award winner Laurie Metcalf is back on Broadway in Little Bear Ridge Road, set in rural Idaho. It's a story of an aunt and her estranged nephew who reunite to deal with some family drama.
I love this playwright. I love this director. I love this cast. It's kind of dreamy, this whole production for me. I'm living large right now. That's all I can say.
After all these years, Wicked is still as popular as ever, both on Broadway and on tour. And now the countdown is on to the theatrical release of Part 2, Wicked for Good. But back on Broadway, Allie Trimm helps lead the long-running musical. She's Glinda, and we had a chance to chat at the Skylark. I want to jump in because I feel like you have had an exciting year.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Let's talk about where you were this week. This week, what did you do this week? It was 2 nights ago that you were at the premiere of Wicked?
The Wicked for Good had a private screening for the Broadway company of Wicked and like the original creative team of the Broadway performance, the original Broadway cast as well. So it was this huge group of people who, love Wicked for so many reasons to get together and celebrate and watch the new movie. So it was incredible.
What is it like to be next to all of them? They're icons. Like, this show has created icons, truly, of Wicked and just like in the world in general. What is it like to be there with the Kristen Chenoweths of the world and the Ariana Grandes of the world?
Oh my gosh, it's kind of surreal. Like, I just feel like I grew up watching this story and I grew up so impacted by this musical when I was really, really young. And so to be sitting and watching the movie and Stephen Schwartz is sitting right behind me. And like at this point over the years with Wicked, I've performed with him at a lot of different events and it's just been really incredible to be like, oh my gosh, pinch me, I'm here, I'm a part of this right now. Like, I'm not just here watching through the window, I'm a part of this, and it feels like a huge honor, and I can't even believe it, really.
It's exciting to see the movies and the audience it has created, and now generations.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right?
It's a whole new audience is coming into the show because it opened 22 years ago, and now with the movies coming out, I feel like there's such a wider net that Wicked can now reach. Worldwide, it's already had performances touring in every country, but it's so much more accessible now to anyone. And so people know the story, they know the characters, they're falling in love with it from a new starting point. So to be in the Broadway company now has been really interesting. Like, these new fans are coming in, and up until this month, they still might not know how it ends. There are thousands of people that are still every day coming to see the show live, and it's really cool. It shows me that, like, yes, people want to see Wicked in the movie form, and they can, but it's an extra additional thing to be in the live room where it's happening, and I think it's really beautiful to see people getting the story from all of these different modalities.
There's nothing like the magic of Broadway, and there's nothing like seeing magic on Broadway. One of the world's great illusionists, Rob Lake, brings his mind-blowing magic to New York City this fall, along with some very special guests, the Muppets. Let's send it out to Paul Wontorek.
So good to see you guys.
An honor. Thanks for being here today.
Good to see you, Kermit. You know, you look great. I've aged 50 years. You haven't aged a day.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. Yeah. And maybe it's making audiences laugh all these years, keeps me looking young. I don't know. That and a spa day in the swamp every couple months. Probably what it is.
You're talking about your Broadway debut. You're sitting next to this guy. He's a co-star. Where are the emotions right now?
Everywhere. It's like a dream that I'm only partially awake to. It's my dream coming true, but it doesn't totally feel real yet. And I don't know when it's going to wake up and hit.
Kermit, you have thrived in front of live audiences, especially on the Muppet Show. I've grown up watching you do everything. What is different about being in front of Broadway audiences for you?
Well, it's always fun to perform before a live audience and to get the energy and the reaction from them. And to be part of one of Rob's illusions is especially fun. You mentioned the Muppet Show. We feel so honored. We've just wrapped filming on a new episode of the Muppet Show. It's part of a 50th anniversary special event on Disney Plus with Sabrina Carpenter as our guest star, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
What's the worst thing that can happen? 2 old guys heckling you from a box seat?
That's pretty rough.
that is
Yeah.
tough. But
I didn't tell them. Did
no,
you?
no, I didn't tell Statler and Waldorf either. Hopefully they haven't figured it out, nor will they figure it out. Please,
Hopefully
let's
they
make
get
sure that
tickets.
they don't see this.
Rob, you have played stages all over the world, but now you're getting ready to play the Broadhurst Theater on Broadway, which is much more intimate. What's it like getting ready for that?
So I've performed in over 60 countries around the world, but now I'm coming to the world stage. And I've performed in arenas, where I make a helicopter appear, but everything on Broadway is intimate. The Broadhurst Theater is very close and very intimate, there's not a bad seat in the house. I've checked them all. I checked for sightlines, I checked reviews, and that means the audience feels personally part of the magic. So every illusion I've chosen for the show at the Broadhurst here on Broadway is to make the audience personally engaged in the magic and personally inspired by the illusions.
Rob, I know you also helped create the magic at Death Becomes Her on Broadway, and I know storytelling is a big part of what you do. So how do you think about that? How do you think about engaging an audience?
I start with the story. I start with the theater. I love magic as a trick, it's for fun, but for me, it's taking the audience on a journey. And this journey in our show is how I'm inspired by magic and sharing that inspiration. It's opening up to my vulnerabilities, my personal story of what magic is to me, and let the audience experience that with me from a theatrical point of view.
Is Rob allowed contractually to saw you in half? Be honest.
As long as you put me back together.
Promise.
Okay, good. Yes, it's fine.
Two strangers carry a cake across New York City. That's the title and the premise of a new Broadway musical. It's a two-person rom-com from the UK.
Now swallow your pride.
I'll swallow my pride.
I'm Bonnie, you're Clyde.
You're Bonnie, I'm Clyde.
We're gonna be hitching a ride on the American Express.
It's a show about these two normal people who are going through very normal things, but oftentimes when we're going through something that feels extraordinary to us, it feels like there's no way out. And these two people help each other, right? Find happiness again in a place where they didn't think it existed anymore. One of the traps is that the songs are so good that you can just fall into singing them to sing them, right? Because they feel good to sing. Our director does a really good job of reminding us that no solo is a solo, right? Everything's a duet. Whether the other person is New York City, whether the other person is your scene partner, even though it's a two-hander, the world around us is so fully realized that it never feels like just us.
Okay, we're about to get off the train and then we'll be in New York.
Yes.
You're not gonna freak out.
New York. I'm already talking New York.
Jim Barnes and Kit Buchan, our composers and lyricist, book writer, they are geniuses. These songs, they transcend speech. And that's what musical theatre is all about. Why do we sing? We have to sing because our speech does not convey what we want to feel anymore. We have to sing it. And each song could be from a different genre of music. Is so creative, and it doesn't sound like this is the vibe of the show. It's just these are beautiful songs, and they're earned, and they are beautiful. Yeah.
Is he ready for me? Are they ready for me? Are you ready for me? In New York.
Here's Beth Stevens with another edition of Building Broadway.
Two strangers carry a cake across New York. Very specific, very intriguing. You two are bringing a story that takes place in New York City to New Yorkers this time. How does that feel to present this show in New York City?
It is very thrilling, but it's also an immense responsibility. Because it feels like even with any musical, this is the most distinguished audience in the world for musical theatre. So bringing any show from out of New York into New York is already a kind of daunting prospect. A show that's set in New York, the responsibility is magnified 1,000 times. But I also really believe that the version of New York that we've created along with Tim Jackson, our director, is something that New Yorkers will get a kick out of. The way that we've been thinking about it is New York is a mythical city, a bit like Oz or the Emerald City in Oz, or a bit like Cair Paravel or somewhere, just with the added detail that it happens to exist in real life.
I mean, it doesn't feel that way on the subway. But no. I do think that there is a romantic version of New York to people who don't live here. And that seems to be what inspired you two, because my understanding is that you had not spent a lot of time here when you were writing the show.
We'd only been here as tourists, so we'd never really lived here. And the story, our show is told from the perspective of somebody who has a rose-tinted image of the city of New York. And for him, he's absorbed New York primarily through the cinema, but also from music and books. But he's watched and watched again movies set in New York, which is kind of true of us as well. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think probably not living in New York was both a help and a hindrance, in that if we were writing a show about London, we probably wouldn't be able to be so sort of in awe of the place, because we were able to just take all the best bits that we were receiving across the sea and sort of make a show about it.
So what are some of those inspirations, especially that fed this show?
Sort of too many to count, I think, probably, but we like to say that there's the Before trilogy by Richard Linklater, which is similar in some ways.
That's the Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know it. Yeah.
It takes, the first two films anyway, take place over a very short period of time, a bit like our show, and they're sort of really two-handers.
I think when we set out to do this, we felt that we wanted to do something that was like gently radical, in the sense that we wanted to write a musical about two quite unimportant people, not doing anything especially magnificent. And that, at the time, felt quite exciting. We sort of had a wager that you could write about the small emotional fluctuations of two strangers, and that those fluctuations could be moving enough to merit song.
And also, when you're working with romantic comedy, there are certain tropes that people expect. How did you play with those?
Well, that's sort of the show, in the sense that those films that inspired us, in particular, stuff like Sleepless in Seattle, Moonstruck, Crossing Delancey, When Harry Met Sally, kind of classic New York rom-coms, we wanted to sort of challenge some of the expectations there. So we have one character who believes in those and another who decidedly doesn't. We rewatch those films quite a lot, and sometimes we go back and we're like, oh wow, we really lifted that.
What was your idea of New York versus what your personal reality was when you finally got to spend some real time here?
I think some of the really nice things about coming to New York is sort of like the community that you really find here. Like, London often feels like it's not really lived in. It's sort of like a museum or something. But in New York, even right in the center of town, you really feel like people are living here, and you know, they know all the restaurants and these lovely old shops. And
if somebody visits London, I always feel a bit worried, because I think they're bringing with them the equivalent fantasy, right? And they're thinking Dickensian cobbled streets and like little weaselly pub-like, like den-like pubs where you could get lost, and there might be, you know, Oliver Twist might pop out from behind a corner at any moment, accompanied by Jack the Ripper. But but like, and so I worry that London is a bit corporate, and that people will be disappointed when they come here, because it's like London isn't maybe very London.
That's really funny, because
Whereas
as
New
you were
York is
talking,
very New
I was
York.
thinking the same thing about New York.
Not
I was
to
thinking,
us.
oh, but all the chain stores and the...
Yeah, but
you know, the
it's
Dwayne
not like
Reed,
London.
no?
I think compared to London, though,
There's many more independent businesses here. The theatre industry feels like much more welcoming, much more tangible. But even when you were saying earlier, it's like, oh, it doesn't feel romantic on the subway. To us, it kind of does feel romantic. Like even somebody kind of yelling, "Watch it," is part of that in a way.
Get ready to rumble. It's unlike anything you've seen before. The Outsiders is coming soon to a city near you. Of course, it's based on the iconic novel that we all know and love by S.E. Hinton. We got to know the stars.
Getting the call that let me know that I'm gonna be able to portray such an iconic character just blew my mind. Immediately called my parents. It was just crazy.
There's like an undertone of nervousness just because of how big these theaters are going to be. But I feel like there's like this nice wholesome feeling when knowing that there's like we will be someone's first Pony and Johnny, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's a very nice feeling.
I think the Rumble is just something that I'm just so looking forward to. You know, I think about my parents who are going to come see the show, who've listened to the soundtrack and are excited, but then like the stage elements that you don't get to hear regularly, you don't get to see regularly, that like those moments. I remember when I saw the show, it was right when like Great Expectations had just came out, and so I'd heard nothing else. I'd heard about the Rumble, I'd heard about these things, and seeing it was like jaw-dropping.
And I'm most excited for like my favorite song in the show, Throwing in the Towel, where the three Curtis brothers sing together. I think it's so powerful seeing three brothers struggling in such a dark place, but holding each other up and looking forward and bringing each other with them, like helps us know that like we're really not alone. And I think I'm so excited for audiences to see that.
Our creative team, Donnie Taymor, our director, and the Cooperman brothers, our choreographers. They're really taking care of us.
They are.
And having toured before, like obviously there's going to be different things in different cities. The
Yes.
house is going to be a different size, different shape, different sound, all that.
Yeah.
But I know that the team is going to do everything they can do to take care of us and keep the show as consistent as possible
It's true.
for us.
Yeah, it's a well-oiled machine on Broadway now, so they have that
We have the
reference.
model,
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
That we're able to draw from in that way.
But then they're also obviously encouraging us to make the show our own.
100%.
And I mean, even now, I feel like we had a full run through of our show a couple days ago,
Yeah.
and it's just so completely different from what's on Broadway right now.
Yes.
It's the same show, but it's just different people create
Yeah.
such a different show. And
Absolutely.
a different experience.
It's just so good.
Hey guys, my name is Nolan White. I'm playing Ponyboy Curtis on the Outsiders National Tour, and come see the show when we're in a city near you. Thanks.
It's New York City's buzziest musical, The Bee is back. The 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, back in New York City, off Broadway at New World Stages. We got to know the stars.
I think it's just so real. Like, you know, it's very goofy, it's very silly, but we're adults playing children, so there's that aspect. It's fun. But there's something about you're just seeing like these more intense versions of very real people.
I told this to Jasmine the other day. I think this show is like pizza. You know, there's no such thing as bad pizza. There have been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different productions of this show. All sorts of people have played these roles. You can see yourself in each and every single one of them.
Everyone who can come to the theater has at least been 9 at a point in their life. You know what I mean?
That's so true.
Majority of people. So everyone has been there, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny.
And the music is so good.
Mm.
I feel like in a lot of musicals, the music is just there to be there, but
Right. It's so universal.
Yeah, the songs do a really good job of moving the story along, which should be not so
Right.
to do.
It's easy to sit through for even like musical haters. You know what I mean?
And the songs are fun.
Yeah,
they
they
make
are
you want to
funny.
dance, and they get stuck in your head, and yeah, no, it's just a great time.
The Phantom of the Opera is alive and coming soon to a city near you. The longest running musical of all time is on tour across North America. We got to know the stars in the rehearsal room.
Sweet intoxication, touch me, trust me, savor each sensation.
It's like it was written for me because I love to sing it. It feels so good to sing. It's invigorating. When I poll people and if they've ever seen the show, it's either they've never seen it before or it was the first Broadway show they ever saw. So I'm really excited to go around the country and to share this story with people that have never seen it before. And also for people that are fans with a P, to experience it again with this amazing group of people, this company. Oh my word. Just get ready is all I'm saying.
I remember hearing this score for the first time when I was very young, maybe 5 years old, 6 years old, and falling completely in love with it. And it's had a through line in my life. It's inspired me to pursue classical music because it's where my voice felt the most at home. And to be singing it now, it's, you know, I wake up every day and I pinch myself, and it's, you know, if there's any time of doubt or fear, I'd say, you know, do it for that 5-year-old girl that wanted so badly to hold the scarf and to wear that cape. And it's just so surreal and such a huge honor.
Christine, that's all I ask of you.
National tours are how most people experience big theater, and there's of course regional theater and community theater, which are vital, and I encourage everybody, please support your local theaters. But a show like Phantom, like you can't really do it. You know, it needs to be huge, and so taking theater on this scale with this kind of production value and exploring these ideas and giving people the experience of being in a theater and going, whoa, like what just happened, and maybe changing their relationship with what live theater can be, that's thrilling to me.
Masquerade, take your fill, let the spectacle astound you.
And that's going to do it for us. But for tickets, or if you want to see extended cuts of all these interviews, head over to Broadway.com. And be sure to check out The Broadway Show Uncut wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is The Broadway Show.